I'm Peter Westwood, I'm Data Centre Director. When I'm building a team for a data centre, I look at a mixed bag really of experience. I like the older experience with the guys that have been doing it perhaps 20, 30 years, because you need that to bolster the team. You need some dynamic, you need some enthusiasm, you need some innovation as well. And that generally comes from some of the younger guys. We've always had a good core of people within the business, right across the board with experienced guys. My biggest challenges really are trying to get new people and fresh people, Unfortunately, those guys are not going to be around for a long time. They've grown, over the last couple of decades with data centres, having that experience and knowledge for delivery. And it's really how we refresh and bring those youngsters in to start, replacing them and having a bit of a succession plan in the data centre industry with those core skills and gaps. The other thing personally I think we're missing is data centre design and architectures have stayed quite static over the years. The architectures have sort of stayed the same throughout, and without those young people we can't look at making the data centres more efficient, driving technologies, really getting that R&D through and making these data centres more efficient, and also some of the technologies. And this is why I'm so keen for young people to come through, because I feel that traditionally the data centre industry has always kept the architectures of data centres the same, and they've been saying, for a long, long time. Whereas if we refresh that and we realise the problems that are going to come with power demand, those new people will hopefully bring new technologies. They'll bring a little bit more into the industry to help us drive the efficiencies, which is definitely required with, immersed cooling, different server technology, open compute systems, different cooling systems, all that sort of stuff. And that's what I want to see, that come through with those graduates, those scientists, those engineers, because they're the guys that are going to produce the future and the designs for the future. And I'm quite excited about how that's going to work out. And that introduction, from educating young people from schools and careers, that's where we need to learn and get better at enhancing that career in data centres. I've had a fantastic career in data centres, and I know a lot of other people who have, and it's a fantastic industry to be in. It's how we encourage the school leavers to actually say, well, this is what I want to do and this is what I want to be involved with, and learn about, how they can get involved. So it all depends on the role that I'm looking for. As I say, I sometimes, need different levels of experience. If I'm looking for a design engineer, then I would be looking for a university graduate or somebody who's trained and got that experience in education from a design perspective. But not everybody has to have that. Good engineering skills, and people have come up through the CITB and through the, from the tools, and made very good engineers. And it is about talent spotting and trying to bring people through. It really does depend on the role. As a manager, I've not got professional qualifications. I've come and learnt through experience over 30 years as an engineer, and evolved in data centres that way. But it depends on the role, and I wouldn't really specifically say, everybody needs high education, obviously, and I wouldn't necessarily say that people weren't fitted right for a role if they didn't have, certain certificates. So we do a lot of training in-house. We also send, we bring lots of graduates through our business, apprentices on the tools, graduates, and then they will go on to do, further degrees if that's what they wish to do. Engineers can go on and do sort of further education. Obviously, we do a lot of health and safety training, which is, sort of one of our biggest things, to make people go home safely each day and develop each person as they require. But it's a little bit of a grey area. So there's openings and, for all sorts of types of people coming looking for their careers, whether it's health and safety, whether it's quality, whether it's engineering, whether it's IT or networks. There's so many different avenues into the data centre world, and I absolutely encourage people to come into that industry just for the future and the technology, and for the career that I've had. So it's good, and especially with Highfield, they fully understand the requirement, the different roles. There's many different roles that we need, as I've just explained, and it's good to have somebody who actually understands the experience and skills that that person needs to fulfill each role, whether it's an engineer or a project manager or a director or a commissioning manager. It's nice to have an agent that actually knows what those different requirements are and then fulfill those with the right candidates.